Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1 p.m. The Henry County Elections and Voter Registration meeting will come to order. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We will adhere to the agenda. We will start with an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. Today, will you please center yourselves? I will start off with a reflection and then go into a prayer. Never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. Corrie ten Boom. God of tomorrow, the world in all its volatility and uncertainty is no match for your own character. You are faithful and true, a God in whom we can place all our hopes and fears. You still perform miracles today, promises of healing and restoration through faith and prayer. Quell our fears then about tomorrow as we place our trust in you. As the Henry County Board of Elections and Voter Registration, lead us into an unknown future anchored firmly in our knowledge of who you will be to us and how you will accompany us throughout every turn. With gratitude for your promise to lead and be with us, we pray, amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board members, we have before us the agenda. Do we have any amendments to the agenda? Board Member Crumbley, did you have an amendment to the agenda?
Yes, Chair, I'd like to add the status of the new precinct cards to the agenda under old business.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So, Board Member Crumbley, would you like to add that to section 8
yes.
under old business? Would that be H?
Yes. Yes, please. Under H, the status of the new precinct cards. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else, any other amendments to the agenda? Okay, I would like to make a motion to accept the agenda with the addition of under section 8, old business, H, new precinct cards.
I'd like to second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes with a unanimous vote. Next on the agenda, we have the acceptance of the board meeting minutes for May 3rd, 2023. You have these meeting minutes in your packet. Board, I did get a chance to review the meeting minutes, and thank you, Crystal Cates, for preparing the meeting minutes with us, and she made a number of revisions to the meeting minutes. Does anybody have any corrections to the meeting minutes that you have before you?
I think they were great. Thank you so much, Crystal.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes for May 3rd, 2023. Do I get a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. Okay. Now we move on to the director's report, and we have Juan Isidore that is stepping in for Director Banks today, and we want to thank you in advance, Juan, for stepping up to take the place of Director Banks today. She is out for a loss in her family, and we want to send condolences to her. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to the board, and good afternoon to the Henry County community. So, all right, so starting off the director's report, Starting off with our department updates, we do have a newly vacant position in our office, which is our supervisor position. Now, we are going to be conducting our performance evaluations of all staff within the next 6 months. Okay, now for budget updates. Now, our budget is currently approved. For our performance evaluations of our staff, if you see in your folder on page 3, you will see the job description for the program coordinator 1 position. It is a technician / poll worker management position, and how we have broken that down for the future. Now, for when it comes to e-pulse planning, we have not yet begun to break down how we plan to use e-pulse for the upcoming election, but that is on the agenda for something for our office to take care of in the upcoming weeks. Now, for D, our in-house standard.
And I apologize, I pronounced your name incorrectly. I apologize, and you didn't
Yes, ma'am.
even correct me. I apologize. It's Jawan. Before we go back, the information that you shared about, you said the budget was approved. So, and that was approved with the additional monies that was requested, so that we will have those monies. So, want to make sure the board understood that that was approved. And then, what was the second thing that you said? I apologize. I was trying to keep up.
I'm sorry if I'm going too
That's okay.
quickly.
That's okay.
So then, after that, I brought up our performance evaluation of our staff, which is our page on page 3. So our office has been redescribing what our positions actually do entail, tailored to what we actually do. So for the program coordinator 1 position,
Okay.
myself as well as Mr. Joey Brown, we have taken the initiative to break down the technician and poll worker management position. And there, for the program coordinator 1 position, there's also going to be another breakdown for the voter registration side of what that position does entail.
Okay. Board, do you have any questions about the program coordinator position job description that is in the in your packet? And I realize there may be questions that comes after this, because this is the first time that we're seeing this information.
I want to go back to budget update. What was the total amount of the budget that was approved? Do you have that information? You may not have it.
Yeah, I do not have that information at
Okay.
this time.
I do have a question here regarding the program coordinator position. So is this a revamp of the position and the requirements for the position?
So what our office thought would be a better description of what we actually do in the office, we decided to go do an in-depth breakdown. We thought that the job description that we had before was very generic to what we are actually tasked to do in the office. So we wanted to go in-depth and break down what exactly, the job would entail. Based off of when it does come time to do performance evaluations, you're going to be evaluated on what your actual task in the office is to do, rather than what our previous job description had entailed.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you for that clarity and understanding. And it's our understanding this will be taking place with all of the positions in the office.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Also, Jawan, I realize this is the program coordinator. Is there plans to do this with all of the job? You're gonna ask that question. Is that a plan to do that with all of the job descriptions in? Well, I'm saying job description. All of the job descriptions that are currently used in your office.
Yes, that is our current plan, and multiple people are working currently on revamping what it is they actually do in the office.
Thank you.
Nope.
Chair, I'd like to ask Juwan, the positions that are available now, could we have those job descriptions ASAP, like Supervisor 2, so we can go ahead and be telling all of our people about the job? Because the meeting last night, I had everybody wanting more details about it. So the vacant positions, we'd like as soon as possible.
Okay, I will get with Director Banks, and we'll work out a timetable on when we can
Thank you
provide
so
that to the
much.
board.
Thank you, Jawan.
No problem.
Thank you. I know I asked you to back up. Where did, I don't know where we left off at, because we went back to the performance eval, and then we addressed the budget. And I know Board Member Smells asked about the amount. Vice Chair, do you have an estimated amount of what that was approved? Because I know we worked with it. Vice Chair may not know the exact amount.
I don't know the exact amount because I can't recall it just yet, but I think it was in the area of $31,000 that we needed in addition to what we were requesting, what we initially had, which was just the same budget from the prior year, but we needed to increase for a variety of reasons, especially going into the presidential primary and in preparation for that. But do not quote me on that number because I do not have that in front of me, but we can pull it out.
Yes. And I know that additional monies was needed for the poll pads that are needed for advanced voting. So that monies was needed for that additional equipment.
Additional equipment and to make sure we had the delivery trucks.
Yes. Thank you, Joanne.
No problem. So I think I left off at in-house standard operations and procedures, or SOPs.
Yes.
So if you look in your folder and see page 4, this is an example of one of our standard procedures that we have worked on. So far we have done procedures on changing of address, on voter precinct cards, how to cancel a voter in our system, and the use of elections equipment in the building. So the ICX maintenance is one example of a standard procedure that we have worked on. Most people don't know. They need to be charged every couple months because you don't ever want them to get below 50%. So this is just a procedure of how exactly from start to finish we will go about maintenance, and we're doing this across the board for many different procedures for many different positions within our office.
And Jawan, what is an ICX? One of the things that we strive to do during these meetings is, and we tend to do this, is use abbreviations. And then we want to make sure we explain those to the voters. It's a habit. I do it in my job all the time. So will you explain to the voters what an ICX, and to us, because I don't know what an ICX is.
Of course. So an ICX is an image casting device. So if you ever walk into a precinct, it is the big rectangular tablet that everyone votes on. That's what we call the ICX device.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So is that the poll pad? No, you said that they vote on. So that's the ballot marking device. Is that what you said it is?
Well, so BMD, ballot marking device, it's when you take the ICX and you plug it into a printer, both of them together make a BMD, which is the ballot marking device.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, learn something new. So you said this is an example of one of the standard operating procedures. You said you have others that you have.
Correct.
The board would definitely like to see all of the ones that you're working on and electronically, and then also a paper copy of the ones. And the board understands that you are not finished and you're not going to be finished anytime soon. We would just like to also be involved and be abreast of what you're working on in the process.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Board Member Smells.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I don't know how many, how much work is involved and how many of these systems that you're gonna have to report to us back on. What is an estimate of how many do you think, roughly?
At this time, I can't give you an accurate estimate because we're still finding new procedures and things that we can come up with as the day goes by, and thinking about different procedures that we each do in our own separate processes of how we try to accomplish a task. So every day that we go in, we try to figure out. So for me, for example, a big procedure that I am tasked with is our election equipment. And I operate in how I keep track of everything is very different than how other people would in the office. So we really try hard to really dig deep into one singular point of how we should all do things, and then bringing it back to the larger office and trying to accomplish and try to make sure everyone is on the same page and make sure our procedures are followed, whether we're here, whether we're not here, across the board. As of right now, I believe we've done about over 10 different procedures from different positions. So we're going to keep doing them until we can knock out almost every single task that each individual position that we have. We're trying to create a roadmap for everybody. So for the years to come, doesn't matter if it's 10 years, 20 years from now, you can go back and look at any single task that you're going to be asked to do, and you have a procedure to do it.
Sounds like a good plan. Go ahead.
Chair, I'd like to ask Juwan, who in the personnel is on your task force to do these procedures?
So I really do have to thank Program Coordinator Angela Finney, who introduced us to this exact process of how to accomplish these SOPs. So she really helped initiate getting the office together to making sure that we do have basically a guidebook in place to making sure that, you know, we cover all our steps, all our bases moving forward.
Juwan, a couple things that I just thought of. I wanted to ask, and I know you said, I understand that Angela Finney isn't here to answer these questions, but wanted to know, are you all reaching out to other counties to look at their standard of procedures so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel? So use them as templates. That's the first question. And then the second thing is the sample that you provided. This is a what's the word? It's more like a graph, or it is a procedure that walks you through. However, when I look at it, we're all different learners. So I may be able to look at this and say, this is, I need to do 1, 2, 3 to get from start to end. And then Deidre may look at it and say, I can't read this. And then she's gonna need a procedure that walks her through 1, 2, 3 that's written out. So I just wanted to know, have y'all thought about having different versions of the procedures, not just this Visiograph?
Yeah, so for some of the procedures that we do have, some of them, they do come with images that are going to allow you to follow through as well. For those who are visual learners, they like to see things with pictures. So for some of our SOPs, we do have that. We can definitely, and we will, look into, and we try our best to make sure that in all forms, in any way people communicate and take in information, we're covering all our bases to make sure that, you know, everyone is receiving the literacy that they need.
And then about I'm sorry, I gave you 2 questions. So about the first question, are you all looking at other standards or procedures from other counties and then using those as templates so you don't have to start from scratch?
So far, what we have done is we do have, for example, we do have several people who have come from different counties who have done things differently. So they have brought in their knowledge of how things were done from the counties and the experience that they have had over the years, and just how we can improve what we are trying to do, in our office.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
So now we're going to shift over to the special election for District 2 Commissioner, and I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Rowan to go over.
Well, he's turning it over to me, but we'll both be up here presenting. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and remaining members of the board. As you may already know, on May the 19th of 2023, the Henry County Chief Judge declared a vacancy in District 2 Commissioner's seat. That order was filed with the court on May the 22nd of 2023. So, Senate Bill 22, 3A, it allows the Chief Judge of the Superior Court of Henry County to declare a vacancy in the event of a temporary vacancy or a vacancy no later than 14 days after the declaration of the vacancy. A qualified interim successor from the district in which the vacancy occurs shall be appointed by the remaining members of the board Such appointment may be made from a list of nominees provided by the County Executive Committee of the political party of which the vacated board member was the candidate at the last general election in which the board seat was up for election. Thank you. In the event that the temporary vacancy exceeds 90 days, a special election shall be held in the same manner as provided for in paragraph B of paragraph 2 of this subsection. The person elected at such special election shall take office immediately upon the results of such election being certified by the election superintendent. All persons so elected to fill a temporary vacancy shall serve until the vacancy of the incumbent board member ends or for the remainder of the unexpired term, whichever event occurs first. Okay. And this is section 2B as to what has to occur in the special election. A qualified permanent successor from the district in which the vacancy occurs shall be elected at a special election called for such purposes. Only the qualified electors of Henry County residing within the commissioner district wherein the vacancy occurred shall be eligible to vote of such election. The election superintendent of Henry County shall cause such election to be held on the earliest available date provided by general law for a special election to fill a vacancy. The election shall be governed by the provisions of Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia relative to special elections for filling a vacancy. So basically where we are, now that a vacancy has been declared, the Board of Commissioners have appointed a commissioner to temporarily take that seat. The Board of Elections is now responsible for conducting a special election to elect someone to fill the remainder of that term. So this is the chart of the special election dates that are eligible throughout the state of Georgia. That's supplied by the Secretary of State. So we have the special election dates that are quote unquote left where we can actually comply with the chapters, September the 19th of 2023, and then November the 7th of 2020, September the 19th of 2023 is an upcoming special election date, as well as November the 7th of 2023, which is also a special election date and a general election date. And as of today's date, the Board of Election is already responsible for doing the November the 7th, 2023 date. So that's an election date that the Board of Election must have. And so now I'll turn it over to Juwan regarding what date for the special election that the director would recommend.
Okay. So it is the director's recommendation, and you guys can look at page 6 and 7 as a reference of the information I'm going to go over. It is their recommendation that the special election for District 2 Commissioner be held on November 7th, 2023. A vote for the special election is taken up at the July election meeting. Now, just a breakdown of the timeline between September 19th, 2023, special election date, and November 7th, 2023. The estimation for when we would begin doing logic and accuracy testing, or LNA, as the abbreviation we use, would be from July to early August. Now, it is a point, I have to make a point that while this is a tentative date of when we will begin, we don't know for sure until we get the project back from state and we receive who the candidates on the ballot are going to be. We hope that the latest we'll get it by is by early August so that we can begin programming our equipment and getting everything ready for the election. Now, early voting for the special election during September 19th will take place from September 15th to September 19th. September 9th will be a mandatory Saturday voting day, but if you look at page 6, you'll see that September 9th is also our last day of training. So it's cutting it pretty close between our turnaround for training all of our poll workers to when the September 19th election would take place. Now, if you look on the November 7th side, you can see that the runoff date for September 19th, which would be October 17th, runs over and overlaps with when we would start early voting for November 7th. So we're cutting it pretty close in a lot of areas, and we don't. It's tough when you have two different ballots at the same time. So trying to do an election on September 19th and then that leading into the November 7th election, when we can consolidate one ballot by having the 7 precincts that are going to need to do the special election, having them on their respective ballots during the general election during November 7th. So instead of conducting 2 elections at one time, we think it's more feasible to consolidate everything and have one election on November 7th with just the precincts who are going to be taking place, who are going to do the special election, have their candidates on that ballot as well.
Thank you, Jawan, and thank you, Attorney Rowan. The timelines that you have presented and all of the competing timelines and contingencies seems to be very clear here. And if we were to attempt to do the special election on September 19th, there would be a lot of competing tasks that would need to be done, including logic and accuracy testing, the training that would need to be done, and then, oh my goodness, if we were to go into a runoff, then that will compete with advance voting for the November election. It seems clear to me that we would need to go with we should go with the November 7th date for the special election along with the general election, and it would decrease confusion for the voters too, because the voters are already expecting to go in to vote for the general election on November 7th. Board, do you have any questions, any concerns about the recommendation of November 7th for the special election for District 2 Commission seat?
I would just like to say, Chair, that I'm appreciative of this detailed comparison, so we can compare and contrast the two options that are before us. And I appreciate your recommendation, and I agree with your recommendation of November 7th.
I concur.
So what we would do is the director of election and registration is not here today, so we're hoping at the next meeting we can actually take a vote on the actual special date, and by that time we should have the resolution for the Board of Commissioners regarding qualifications. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jawan, we'll move on with the with the agenda, and that's still you.
So getting into the old business, so personnel and staffing. So we do have 2 open positions, which are assistant director position and the administrative assistant position. And as I mentioned earlier, we now have a vacant supervisor position as well in the office.
Okay.
Now, board member Stelzer did mention prior that she did want us to figure out how we were going to honor election workers. At this time, we haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do that, but that is still on the agenda, something that we want to make sure that we do recognize our workers.
Okay.
Now, the open house in August, we have not set a date yet for that, but that is still on the agenda for us to do.
And that one right there, Jawan, I will take on. The open house dates, we do need to schedule that date. And me and Director Banks did reply to that email with 3 dates. If everyone can pull their calendars out and look at this, the dates that we both replied to was August 8th, that's Tuesday, August 8th after 11 a.m., Wednesday, August 9th after 10 a.m., and Tuesday, August 27th after 9 a.m. Do any of those days work for you for the open house that we are planning for department heads in August?
I personally like August the 9th. I like things on Wednesdays. That's
Okay.
my work day. One of them.
My first choice is August 9th.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, I'm good with August 9th also.
Okay. So it sounds like we will go with August 9th, Wednesday, August 9th, anytime after 10 a.m. And Director Bates also said that that is a good day for her. So that's the date we will go with. Jawan and Crystal is taking our notes, so she will write that date down for us. Okay. Thank you, Jawan.
No problem. So next, we do have the discussion about ballot DA. Now,
I'm sorry, Jawan. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Can I have a motion to accept the date of Wednesday, August 9th, after 10 a.m. for the August open house date?
I make a motion to accept August the 9th after 10 a.m.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jawan. I apologize.
no problem.
Go ahead.
So I do want to thank the board for beginning to sign up for ballot DA. And for anyone who is unfamiliar with ballot DA, it is going to be how we start to train our poll workers moving forward. They're going to have an abundance of training videos to watch, and they're going to have to take assessments after watching these videos. And once they have received a satisfactory score, they are then going to be asked to come into the office to receive hands-on training with our equipment. Now, our plan is in the upcoming weeks to send out the link and get all of our poll managers registered for ballot DA. So we want to use our managers first so that they can take their tests, come in for training, and once we see that process from signing up to ballot DA to taking your assessments to coming in for your hands-on training, once we see that process works smoothly and we like the direction that it's going in, we're then going to open it up and invite all of our poll workers then to sign up, get registered, and go through their process of getting trained for the upcoming elections.
Okay.
Chair Fanny, I'd like to ask Juwan, who's managing the list of the poll workers, especially the managers? Do we have someone that's coordinating all of those? Who would that be?
That would be me.
Okay, good.
Any additional questions?
No, I don't have any other questions, but I do want to tell you and everyone else that's been involved in preparing ballot DA. I know I came in to visit and I saw Joey and a bunch of the staff sitting there going over all the questions. There's a lot of work that has gone into preparing ballot DA, and I know that we're going to get a great benefit from it. So thank you.
Next, we have Jarvis. I'm happy to say that since May 1st, we have not received any new reef tickets for Jarvis. And if anyone doesn't know what a reef ticket is, it is where it's sort of like an IT ticket where you submit any technical issues that you are having with the system. So I am happy to say we're having no issues with how Jarvis is going at the moment. And our office is continuing to do the job every day and getting everybody registered and everything.
And Jawan, will you share with the voters about the enhancement in security that was recently upgraded with Jarvis?
Absolutely. So what Jarvis or Salesforce has done, which is the overall software that Jarvis is run through, there is a Salesforce Authenticator. So it's basically an extra two-step verification process to make sure that nobody is signing into your login if it's not you. So you can try to log in on a website, but you will get a notification on your phone asking if this is you trying to log in to Jarvis. If it isn't, you can hit deny, and whoever's trying to log in on your computer, they won't be able to. It will shut them out. So that is just an added step of security that Jarvis has taken to secure voter information. So we love the change. We love it. Now the next is voter material and voter swag. Now if you see pages 8 and 9, you will see 2 invoices that we do have for postcards, for posters, for hand fans that we would like to purchase.
Jawan, can you describe the foldable hand fan? What does it have on it?
Yeah, I think it's just I think it is just a fan. As far as design goes,
Yes.
I haven't seen a design for it yet.
Okay.
But I do know these are three of voter material or swag that we are inquiring about.
Chair, I'd like to ask Juwan, who's working on the artwork for these things? Is that you also?
It'll be me.
Can
That
you,
was a rhetorical question.
can you include us in what you're gonna, I'm sure Vice Chair will want to be included in what the artwork or design
Yes,
or Board
we
Member
do.
Smelts to find out like what the design
Yeah.
would be on the fans and I guess the posters and the postcards too.
Absolutely.
Board Member Stessler and Board Member Vice Chair Collins and I guess the whole board really was involved in the postcards that were sent out prior to the elections last year, and they came out very well. And they were also posted in a lot of the senior centers and the libraries and things like that. So please include us in whatever you work on.
Absolutely, will do.
Thank you.
So that will conclude all the updates that I do have.
We do have an additional one that Board Member Crumley added, which is new precinct cards. Do you have any information on that? I know the last time we talked about it, it was contingent on information from Jarvis. So I don't know if you do have any information. That may be something that Director Banks had.
Yes, so I currently do not have any additional information on that for you, but I will talk to Director Banks on answering that question for you.
So we can get a follow-up
Yes.
after the meeting. Is that okay, Board Member Crumley?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Next, we have public comments. Do we have any public comments? It doesn't look like we have any public comments. Board, I would like to have a motion for us to go into executive session to discuss personnel. Can I have a motion to go into recess?
So moved, Madam Chair, to recess to go into executive session.
I second.
Any discussion? Can I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes for us to go into recess for executive session to discuss personnel matters. Thank you. We will be back.
No, they're doing some, anything they need you to know when they please, they'll bring it out.